What's up, everybody? We have the pleasure today of sitting down with Mr. Robbie Rainbow Gibbons. A lot of you may have followed his journey on ABC on the show Castaways.
Yeah, I finished about 8 months ago.
About 8 months ago, and I know we have been keeping up with him over this past 2 years, and started out really 2 years ago at about 400 pounds.
Yeah, I was over 400 pounds when I started.
400 pounds, and now looking better than all of us.
No, that's not true. That's not true. But
speak for yourself.
I've been hanging in there.
Yeah.
So it's not easy, but it's been a journey. It's been a journey for sure.
How do you like to go, Robbie Rainbow?
Robbie.
Or
Well,
Robbie or
So Robbie Rainbow, pure light. Robbie Rainbow. Rainbow is God's promise to me.
yeah.
There's hope.
Yeah.
There's hope in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so Robbie Rainbow is my social media on Instagram and all that. Plus it's catchy and people can remember it.
Right.
But actually while we were out on Castaways, there was just hope, and that's what, we need hope. We need purpose. And when you have that, it can get you through the day.
That's right.
No matter what it is, if you're stranded on an island or if you're, in a community or things aren't going right or anything like that. So, but I'm Robbie Gibbons, Robbie Rainbow Gibbons. On social media, I'm Robbie Rainbow. So, but I do get a lot of questions on but I've actually been Robbie Rainbow for a long time because I wanted to go in WWE, right?
Yeah.
And so Robbie Rainbow
was
my, and I have a whole rainbow drop. I have a finishing move like John Cena.
Before we get done, you need to do that on TV.
Yeah, we need a rainbow drop. And then if you ever, if you're ever pissed, you can always do a rainbow drop on someone they don't even know. But yeah, so growing up, I was, WWE fan, obviously, and so I wanted to go into. But my whole premise is that I was a good guy, and there's always kind of good guy, bad guy type thing, and I was anti-bullying. So if you're being picked on, I was always overweight, I was always heavy. So whenever I found out that if you were bullying or if you were picking on, I was kind of that superhero.
With the rainbow
I was going to hit you with the rainbow drop. Yeah. We were going to end all,
You've
end
been
all
consistent,
the hate.
haven't you?
Yeah.
All these years.
Yeah. So, but there's some, something about it, and I do believe, and I do believe that someday it will all make sense, and it's hard to kind of get through certain things, struggle, we all have it, and then.
So how did your faith play out day to day, though?
Out there on the island. So, how it played in for me is, before I left, my family put together and laminated 60 cards. And on every card, there was a motivational quote. There may have been a Bible verse. So it wasn't all based, on faith, but it was based on motivation and just believing in yourself, something that I hadn't done in a while.
Right.
And every single morning, whether it was just Kinsey and I, or when Matt had joined us, or when Tim had joined us, or when Richard and Sawyer had joined us, whether it was right at sunrise, whether it was before the sun came up, no matter what noises, every single morning we started our day with a meeting. And we read one of those cards.
Oh, wow.
And that's one thing that I've continued to do since I've come back. Is I have a morning. A lot of people say, well, if you want to be successful, get up earlier. Well, it's not necessarily getting up earlier, but if you want to be successful, have that routine in the morning and make sure
and what you do
it's
with
how
that
you start,
time,
and make sure that it involves, whether it be meditation, but time for you to reflect on what you did and on what's coming. And then it became even further, it became like, get to sunset and then get to sunrise. So for Kinsey, the nights were easier. For Robbie, the nights were harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that's when I used to just the house would get quiet, and I would eat. The house would, the kids would go to sleep, and I'd start doing, whatever. And so the nights were tough for me. Plus they were scary. The noises and jungle.
So you were actually filming about this time 2 years ago? Was it?
Not yet. Not yet. We weren't filming yet. I left out September 24th. And then it took about a week. It took me 4 days to get there, and then it took a week before I was stranded. I was stranded on the island. So October and November, that's when I was gone.
And they just told you didn't even know how long.
No.
You just knew.
We knew. We were told this: pack like you're going on a beach trip. Pack your bag like you're going to the beach, and it must meet TSA, Homeland Security guidelines.
Yeah.
So in other words, all we were allowed to bring was a carry-on luggage, and whatever you're allowed to put on the plane, not in the store tow underneath, but what you're allowed to put on the plane.
Yeah, no weapons, no
so
liquid.
Can't bring a knife. You can't bring liquid more than. But I packed my bag. I did Ziploc bags, and I packed so many snacks.
Yeah.
I went to Sam's and I bought Cliff bars, granola bar.
All nutritional stuff.
Yeah, it was like 3 pair of shorts, 3 shirts, and snacks.
Yeah.
I brought a kite. Thought that would be cool. Well, the reason I brought the kite was because I knew I needed some kind of heavy fishing line type stuff. So I took fishing line and I put fishing line as the kite string, and then I brought the kite. It's like I'm gonna have, but
fun and fish.
Looking back, none of that mattered.
Right.
None of it mattered. I think everyone brought dental floss. We're all, dental floss. You can do so much with dental floss stranded on an island. None of it. I didn't use it any. I didn't use it one time. But that's fun to think about, whether it be locker room talk or you're going to go get stranded, you could kind of get creative. What do you bring? What do you bring?
Yeah.
But there were the basic guidelines were it had to meet TSA, Homeland Security. And that kind of.
So what would you bring
tricky.
if you had to do it again? What would you bring? Knowing what you know.
Definitely bring a musical instrument. Like the harmonicas was my mom's idea.
Yeah.
And that was genius because there was so much just do nothing time.
Right.
Just so much down. And having that musical instrument there was big. An easier way to get into coconuts. If you could figure out a way, something easier there.
Do you
definitely.
eat coconut today?
Yeah, I do. Now I didn't right when I got back.
Right,
I was no, I'll never have another coconut. But now I do. If it says these drinks, coconut infused, I'll get it. But I don't buy a coconut and then bust it open and eat that. Nothing like that. But foods that have coconut in it, I do eat.
I tried that because we were watching, my wife and I. We went down to Florida on an island that his friends at, and so I saw one. I was like, I'm gonna try myself. Oh, it busted straight open. It was rotten.
Yeah.
Oh man, it about knocked us off our feet. It was.
They get fermented.
Yeah. It was.
And
I say, it's not bad, but no. It's 'cause
they say that you can act if you have to, at all costs, you could actually drink that fermented.
Man,
wow. For survival.
Yeah.
But I'm not a survivalist. I'm not. I don't know. You watch these other shows and there's always disclosures these are actual survivalists.
Right. They start at some certain grade level.
Yeah.
That's why it was so great because it wasn't scripted. It's
not
survivalists.
We weren't
everyday
coached.
people.
We were ordinary, struggles. We all have them.
Yeah.
Families, and we were just put in a situation where, what would
Just
you do?
if we. Yeah.
And you could leave whenever you wanted. You could say, I'm done, because you were always being watched. Whether there was a cameraman in the jungle filming you with a long lens, or there was a robot camera like a tripod, you were always on camera 24 hours. Yeah. And so at any point, you just
tap out.
You could tap out and say, I know why I came, and I know I'm ready to leave, and you could head on.
So how many times did you come close to? I remember
Just-
one time in particular.
So that was the only time where I was over it. And the reason that I got sad was because I knew what I was having to go back to, because I was so heavy and I was scared to go back. Like, I was scared of, well, this is what I'm going to go back to. How am I going to make it? And something clicked in me, talking with Kinsey and talking with Matt, that you can make it, and you can make a change, and you can do anything that you wanted to do. You've come up here and done all this. So I had my moment, and it was like I had my moment, and I was ready to go.
Yeah.
I had made up my mind that I could go back to Birmingham, Alabama, in this wonderful, we have every resource needed to reach the goals that I want, and my mind clicked, and I knew I could do it. So when that happened, I was ready.
Yeah.
And then with the help of Kinsey, especially Kinsey, and then Matt, and when Richard and Sawyer came over, they were like, "No, we're not letting you.
You're not going in.
We're doing this together."
Yeah, but then it became like, we need you here.
Right.
Like,
They
if you were to
needed
leave, they needed me.
Right.
And so then it became that feeling of like, not only do I got this, but we got this.
Right.
And so I chose to stay, and we made our time. But because of that moment, I was able to come back to Birmingham, Alabama, and make changes with my lifestyle, with my relationship with food, with my social.
I was going to say also to see that people needed you,
Yeah.
and that you could have an effect on people's lives back home.
And it was something that I haven't felt in a while. And we all get in ruts. We can all get in those ruts. But then to feel it again, it's kind of like you've come full circle. So, I get into all these quotes. Joseph Campbell said, maybe the journey isn't about becoming anything. Maybe it's about unbecoming everything so you can be who you were meant to be. So for me, that means I was nurtured a certain way, and I had this spark in me. And then it spent some years where it wasn't there.
Kind of went dormant.
But does it ever go away? Does it ever? Does it ever completely die out? I don't think it does.
Right.
And so
It's part of who you are.
it is part of who you are. It's part of how you're nurtured. And you do have to make some changes, but change isn't necessarily, becoming something completely different. Change really is kind of going back to something of who you were. And it's in businesses, it's in life, it's in the churches, it's in your relationships at home, but it has to start with oneself. Because I'm still a middle school PE teacher.
Yeah.
That's still what I do. That's my main job during the day. Is I work with kids, and I feel successful with it.
Yeah.
And it's not because I have 3 condos down at the beach and I have 2 homes up here and all these fancy cars and all that, but I feel successful because success is about you. And whatever your chosen endeavor is, I feel successful at it.
Yeah.
And I won't let anyone change that mindset.
Your bonus was losing weight.
My bonus was losing weight. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Makes me want to strap up and go play football for you.
Yeah.
So what would you say, like, the biggest, or since you've been back now, besides the weight loss and all that, now that what else are you doing now that you weren't doing before the show?
My new island experience is triathlons.
Yeah.
And what I did realize within myself out there on the island is you're going to have fear, and you're going to have to face your fear. There's going to be some joys. There was excitement out there and people I met and conversations I had, and then there was struggle. And at the end of that, there's freedoms. Well, I got into, it was actually just over a year ago, I was in Nashville and I watched my daughter compete in a triathlon. That's where you swim, bike, and run. And I sat in my lawn chair. I got up twice to walk to the food trucks. And by the end of her race, I was exhausted, right? You know,
And this is a year ago?
this is about a year, almost 2 years ago now.
Okay.
Almost. Coming up it'll be 2 years ago, July 27th. So she does this race. I'm exhausted by the end of it. And I go up to her and jokingly kind of go, I'm going to do this next year. And she looks at me and says, like, yeah, right, starts laughing. You won't ever do something like that. You're not mentally tough enough. You can't do this. And a year later, I completed that same exact triathlon.
Wow.
And she ran it, my wife ran it, I ran it. And so that was just such motivation. But so I created an island of my own making.
Right.
I created the fear, you know, the swim. There's fear in swimming, especially if you're not a big time swimmer. The joy, I love riding the bike, exercise sitting down, right? I loved riding bikes when I was a kid, and I still enjoy doing it now. And then the struggle of the run, because I'm terrible at it. Like going to run long distance hurts. But then you finish, you know, what's your finish line? And it kind of became the island of my own making. And I would sign up and train, and it helped me lose a lot of weight. Well, Team Magic, who sponsors all these races, reached out to me and said, hey, will you be an ambassador for us? And I was like, an ambassador? And they're like, yeah, just kind of help promote our sport for beginners.
Yeah.
You know, this sport isn't just for the USA Olympians.
Right.
You know, this is, anyone can do this. And so I became an ambassador this past year for Team Magic. And I helped, I go around and I run the triathlons. And then I'm also an ambassador for the 100 Alabama miles. So through our state, our beautiful state, and all of our parks and recreation departments, all of our state parks, I'm encouraging you to get out, be active, explore our state, and then connect with others. And we do that through a website called 100 Alabama Miles. And you go on, you log in, and then what you do is you keep up and you log your miles, and you get these badges. And you earn badges and you earn certificates. And it's a accountability program. It's a motivational program, but it also ensures that we are getting Alabamians out into our communities. We're active, we're out there, we're exploring our state. Just this past weekend, I was in Gunnersville, Alabama, and I was at the Gunnersville State Park. We did a triathlon there, and it's just a beautiful area I'd never been to. So then we log those miles on the website, and it creates community, and we just encourage people to get out and be active. And then the last thing I did, this old football coach, I wrote a book.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I wrote a book, and I failed. I mean, y'all, it's taken me about a year, almost a year now, but I wanted to have a memory or a document. A memoir, my experience, something that I could give kids and my grandkids. And so I started writing, and I got about, 20,000 words in, and I submitted it to a literary agent, and she wrote me back. I mean, I felt like an 11th grade English student had just failed English. I mean, it was like
Red marks all over it?
Red marks all over it. And basically said, I'm just not sure that writing the book is for you. And she gave a few suggestions and was like, why are you talking about when you were 5 years old? Oh, so I started completely over. I mean, I failed, and I started completely over from scratch. And I basically took more of my time frame here, and then my experience through Castaways, and then my experience after Castaways. So I shortened everything up, and then completely started over, resubmitted, and she got back to me and said, this is good. Like, this is good. Same lady, Tina, and she goes, I think I want to get with you on this. This is really good. Wow. And so then she set me up with Alan Smith, and Alan became my editor, and he took everything I did, and we needed things to go in different places and flow. And then through meetings that we had, I have a full manuscript and I have a book. Awesome. So, now we're in the final stages of it. Hopefully within the next 2 months, it'll be out.
You have a title yet?
We got this. Yeah, we got
Yeah,
this.
because that's your.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
yeah.
the tagline.
the
yeah.
secrets of, discovering yourself, and
That's
how
that's awesome.
going to be stranded on a remote island. It wasn't what changed me, but it was a catalyst.
Yeah.
Because look, we can't go out there and do something like that. Our jobs don't allow it. Our lives don't allow it. But my change took place right here, in my job. In my that was. I had to make up my mind, and I had to get through that struggle. And so that's why triathlons has been big. Anything, it doesn't have to be physical, but anything that you do to step outside your comfort zone
Right.
Right.
can change for the benefit.
How much speaking are you doing?
I've
Because you should be.
done well. I did 5. I've done about 5 engagements. Obviously, I have spoke for 100 Alabama miles. I spoke at a few churches. I enjoy doing that, and I spoke for Team Magic. I speak for Team Magic in Nashville.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something. I hope honestly, I hope the book, when all the dust settles with my book, then you have some validation.
Right.
And you
Yeah,
say,
that's
hey,
right.
Look. So, but it's something that I want to do. I'm not going to quit my day job
Right.
to go, go
Yeah.
do that. But you have your weekends and your evenings, and you have all that.
Well, we'll see you around this fall on the sidelines, and
Yeah, buddy.
maybe at Sanford University too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll be
Appreciate
there.
the time.
Good.
Thank
All
y'all
right.
very much.